Most chicks do not perish suddenly or without cause. Long before a young bird collapses, its physiological system emits a series of distress signals, yet many poultry keepers unfortunately overlook these critical indicators. By the time a chick is found recumbent, with its eyes tightly shut and its body immobile, the internal biological crisis has likely progressed beyond the point of easy recovery. Seasoned poultry professionals understand a fundamental truth. A chick on the verge of death will typically exhibit distinct warning signs hours or even several days before the actual event of death occurs. In this comprehensive guide, I will detail 7 critical warning signs that your chick may be in imminent danger, along with the specific biological mechanisms driving each symptom. More importantly, I will outline the immediate actions a farmer must take to intervene, save the individual bird, and safeguard the health of the entire remaining flock. A primary early indicator that a chick is experiencing significant distress is the cessation of feeding. Healthy, vigorous chicks are characterized by their frequent consumption of nutrients, moving rhythmically between the feeder and the water source many times throughout the day. However, when a chick becomes overwhelmed by stress or the onset of disease, its feed intake is often the very first thing to decline. You may observe the bird standing in close proximity to the feed tray without actually pecking at the grain, or sitting listlessly while its peers are actively rushing to consume their meal. While this behavioral shift may appear minor to an untrained eye, the biological implications are incredibly serious. During the initial weeks of life, young chicks undergo an extremely rapid rate of physiological growth, a process that demands a continuous and high-volume supply of metabolic energy from their feed. When feed intake drops, energy reserves are quickly depleted, making it increasingly difficult for the bird to maintain its core body temperature and causing the immune system to falter. Many farmers mistakenly assume the chick is merely resting, but healthy chicks rarely refuse food without an underlying biological reason. Common triggers for this loss of appetite include inadequate brooder temperatures, dehydration, substandard feed quality, or early-stage disease stress. If you identify a chick that isn't eating, you must evaluate the brooder conditions immediately. Ensure that fresh water is readily available and that the feed is not contaminated. In many cases, providing fresh water supplemented with electrolytes can help restore the bird's energy levels and stimulate its appetite. Another significant early warning sign is the presence of fluffed-out feathers paired with drooping wings. Under normal, healthy conditions, chicks maintain smooth plumage with their wings held tightly and neatly against their bodies. When a chick becomes physiologically compromised or weak, its body attempts to conserve its remaining energy reserves. The feathers are puffed outward to create an insulating layer of air, which helps trap body heat and reduce thermal loss. Drooping wings are typically a sign of extreme fatigue or a significant reduction in muscle tone. The chick will also become noticeably less mobile, spending the majority of its time sitting rather than exploring. 2 primary factors usually drive this specific posture. The first is cold stress. Because young chicks lack the ability to regulate their own body temperature effectively, low ambient temperatures in the brooder can rapidly weaken their systems. The second factor is systemic illness. When the immune system is actively battling an infection, metabolic energy is diverted away from physical activity to fuel the immune response, leaving the chick quiet and inactive. Many keepers ignore this posture, assuming the bird is simply in a state of rest. However, if one individual remains fluffed and lethargic while the rest of the flock is active, it requires immediate diagnostic attention. Observe the flock's behavior relative to the heat source. If they are huddling tightly directly under the lamp, the environment is likely too cold. If they are avoiding the heat source entirely, the brooder may be too hot. Correcting the temperature often restores normal behavior, but if digestive issues are the root cause, other signs will follow. Experienced poultry managers often emphasize the importance of monitoring droppings as a window into bird health. The waist of a healthy chick should be relatively soft but well-formed, typically brown or green in color, with a distinct white cap of uric acid. When the digestive process is compromised, the appearance and consistency of the droppings change rapidly. You may observe waist that is excessively watery, foamy, abnormally green, or containing traces of mucus or blood. These alterations are clear indicators of gastrointestinal stress. Inside the chick's gut resides a complex community of beneficial microbes known as the gut microbiome, which are essential for digesting feed and providing a defense against harmful pathogens. In young chicks, this microbial system is still in its fragile developmental stages. If harmful bacteria begin to proliferate, digestion is disrupted, and the bird can no longer absorb nutrients efficiently. This leads to a shift in the water balance within the intestines, resulting in diarrhea or watery droppings. Research published in the Journal of Applied Poultry Research confirms that early imbalances in the gut increase the risk of disease and significantly hinder growth rates. If you see abnormal droppings, you must act fast. Check the moisture levels of the litter, remove any damp bedding, and sanitize the drinkers. Determine if multiple chicks are showing these symptoms, as this could indicate a pathogen spreading through the flock. Chicks are inherently social creatures that thrive in a group environment. Healthy birds will eat, move, and rest in close proximity to one another. Therefore, when a chick begins to suddenly isolate itself, it is a strong signal of physical weakness or the onset of illness. You might find the bird sitting alone in a corner or standing apart from the rest of the group. This behavior generally stems from two issues. First, a weakened chick lacks the strength to compete with its more vigorous flock mates for access to feed or the warmest spots in the brooder. Second, illness triggers what scientists call sickness behavior, a biological state where the body reduces all non-essential activities to save energy for survival. If you see a chick isolating itself, monitor it closely to see if it is still eating or drinking. If it is not, moving the bird to a dedicated recovery area with easy access to nutrients can be life-saving. Reducing the pressure of competition allows the weak chick a chance to regain its strength without being bullied or trampled. However, if the bird's breathing patterns begin to change, the situation has likely become more critical. In a healthy state, a chick's breathing is quiet and nearly invisible. You should not be able to hear any respiratory sounds or see significant, exaggerated movement in the chest wall. When the respiratory system is under duress, however, the breathing pattern changes noticeably. You may see the chick breathing with its mouth open, stretching its neck upward to draw air, or you may hear audible wheezing or clicking sounds. These are signs that the bird is struggling to obtain sufficient oxygen. A common culprit is poor ventilation. The accumulation of ammonia from droppings and dust from the litter can severely irritate the delicate respiratory tracts of young chicks, who are incredibly sensitive to air quality. Respiratory infections can also lead to these difficulties. If you observe labored breathing, you must improve the airflow in the brooder immediately, remove any wet litter that might be off-gassing ammonia, and ensure the birds are not overcrowded. Enhancing the air quality can often provide rapid relief to the respiratory system, but if the weakness continues to spread through the body, the bird's mobility will be the next to fail. Healthy chicks are characterized by their constant activity and stable mobility. When a chick begins to struggle with standing or walking, it is a sign of a serious underlying issue. You may notice the bird sitting more frequently than usual or appearing unstable and shaky when it tries to move. Leg weakness can result from several factors, including nutritional imbalances. Chicks require precise levels of calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D to ensure proper skeletal development. Other contributing factors include dehydration or even slippery flooring in the brooder that causes physical strain and muscle fatigue. Once a chick loses its mobility, it can no longer reach the necessary food and water, causing its condition to deteriorate with extreme speed. You should inspect the texture of the litter to ensure it provides good traction, verify that the feed is a high-quality, balanced starter ration, and confirm that the drinkers are at an easily accessible height. If the chick's condition continues to decline, it will enter the final stage of distress. The final stage before death is marked by extreme lethargy and closed eyes. At this point, the chick will sit completely motionless, its eyes shut tight and its head drooping forward toward the ground. It will show almost no reaction to any movement, noise, or touch in its environment. This state usually indicates that the bird is suffering from profound dehydration, a systemic infection, or total energy depletion. Because young chicks have very limited energy reserves, once they stop feeding for an extended period, their bodies quickly run out of the fuel needed to sustain life. If you encounter a chick in this condition, immediate intervention is the only hope. Place the bird in a warm, quiet recovery space and provide clean water enriched with electrolytes. Offer feed in a way that requires minimal effort to reach. While some chicks can recover if treated aggressively at this stage, the most effective strategy is always early detection. Recognizing the preliminary warning signs gives you the best possible chance of saving your birds. Successful poultry farming is built on the foundation of careful, daily observation. Your chickens are constantly communicating their health status through their behavior. Whether it is a loss of appetite, fluffed feathers, abnormal droppings, social isolation, respiratory distress, leg weakness, or extreme lethargy, each sign provides a window into the bird's internal biological state. By learning to identify these signals early, you gain the power to intervene before the situation becomes fatal. Remember, you aren't just raising birds. You are managing a biological system that requires protection from the very first day of brooding. When you improve chick survival rates, you strengthen the entire foundation of your farm, leading to better growth, a healthier flock, and increased profitability. However, there is one common mistake made during the brooding process that silently claims the lives of thousands of chicks every year. In our next discussion, I will reveal exactly what that mistake is and provide you with the steps to avoid it entirely.